before we talk about the book, I am a huge TV geek, almost also a TV historian, and I was going through your resume, and you produced a show with Jeff Goldblum called Tenspeed Brownshoe.
That's right.
I mean, I guess, what was it like working with him before he was the star he became?
Well, Jeff is absolutely one of the nicest guys on the planet. I mean, I still see him, and he's exactly the way he was when we did Tenspeed Brownshoe, which also co-starred Ben Vereen. And but Jeff is this, he's very giving, and he's funny and enthusiastic, and there's nobody around that's more fun to work with than Jeff. And I just had an award presented to me at the Writers Guild, and he showed up and helped to present it, and he remembers his friends. He's a good guy.
Now, what's easier for you, being behind the camera and writing, or being in front of the camera? Because the other thing I found out is you hosted a couple of shows as well.
Yeah, I've hosted some shows. I do a good bit of acting from time to time. It's all fun. You know what? I certainly think that my greatest gig is writing. That's what I really should be doing. But you got to take a little time away from that keyboard. So if I get opportunities to do a hosting job or do an acting job, I'm up for all of that too.
What was the surprising thing coming out of writing this new book?
Well, I think one of the things that was really interesting about it was I had a lot of fun with this story. It is about a corrupt police department. It's about a town that's preying on illegal immigrants that live there. It's about an 80 or 90% of the town is illegal immigrants, and they have nowhere to turn. And so it gave me a chance to deal with the issue of illegal immigration from both sides, both from the side of immigrants as workers in our society in Southern California, and also that they are kind of a disenfranchised people in some respects. And certainly in this novel, they are not getting much of a break from the people in Haven Park.
Do you have more control writing a book versus writing a series?
Absolutely. I mean, with a novel, you're the guy, you're the one. It's a one-man band when you're a novelist. In television or motion pictures, many, many, many people come together to make the project. You have actors, you have directors, you have network executives, you have studio executives, you have other people who are involved in the ownership structure of the piece. So that you get notes from everybody, and everybody wants to be part of the process. And that, when you're doing a motion picture, that is part of what you have to do, is to manage all of those opinions that are coming in and make sure that the project doesn't go off the road from too many cooks. But by the same token, you have to be open to good notes and not just broom everybody aside. A lot of times you get wonderful ideas from actors and network executives and studio executives who suggest something that you go, you know what, I should have thought of that. So you have to be open to that. On the other hand, you don't want to be accepting bad notes and ruining your project in the process. So it's a lot of, kind of evaluating and hand-holding, and what you don't have to do as a novelist. As a novelist, you sit down, it's your deal all the way.
Was there anything specific that inspired you to write this book?
Well, I've always been interested in police corruption because I'm very pro-police, and occasionally, you get the bad apple that gets into a department, or in this case, there are 36 bad apples because they're all hired because of their malfeasance on the job. And I think they help to define really the good cop. Shane is a good cop. There are other good cops in this story, like Alexa, his wife, and those good cops are constantly trying to prune the tree of the bad apples, and I am fascinated by that. When you have jobs that are basically where you're giving up your power to another individual. In other words, we give up our power to our police departments. We're naturally suspicious of them for that reason. And when you have a bad cop, I think it gets heavily covered by the press. And so what I'm trying to do is sort of take a look at that and see what causes these guys to go bad, and how a good cop actually can prevail in those circumstances.
This is going to sound like a stupid question, but was there ever a time when you were writing this, you just start getting in a groove, and then you like realize, wait a minute, I'm just basically writing an episode of Renegade I did 5 years ago?
No, I hope I don't go there. I mean, Renegade was fun. I loved that show. I actually acted in that show as a recurring character.
Yeah.
I was the bad guy in that show. But no, I mean, I try. I mean, I fully plot these things before I start, so hopefully I know where I'm going, and I'm not going to end up falling into an old episode of the A-Team or something. That it'll be fresh and because for me, if I've written it before, the fire starts to go out in me. I can feel when I'm in an area that I've already done, and it doesn't feel fresh to me, and so I always try very hard not to be there.
Is there one show that, say, the Museum of Television History came to you and said, we're going to save one of your shows, just one? What show would that be?
Well, it probably would be Rockford, but because my memories of that show were so interesting and wonderful, based on the fact that everybody on that show, we were all still friends. I just had lunch with Jim Garner like 3 weeks ago. All the writers are still all friends of mine. The other actors on the show, we see each other. It was just a great community of people, and it was the show that I went from being a nobody in television to winning Emmys and being really thought of as being a much better writer than I probably was. So it was a wonderful liftoff of my career, and I have a lot of fond memories of the Rockford Files.
Well, I've loved all your work. I've loved all your shows, pretty much all your shows. Can't say I've seen all of them. The syndicated shows that I read about a couple of days ago, I went, wow, I didn't realize he hosted that. Before I go here, I always love asking, is there one particular show that you produced you were very proud of, you put a lot of effort into it, but for some reason just the audience didn't catch on, and you wish more people had caught on to it?
Actually, there were a bunch of them, that I thought I got the shows right, that they were really entertaining, and they didn't make it. Tenspeed Brownshoe was one. I thought the Hat Squad, a show I had on CBS, was an amazingly cool show. I did a show on Fox, which is always on the critics' list of the 10 best shows that didn't make it.
Let me guess, Profit.
That was Profit.
Yeah.
And, so there were a lot of shows that I kind of look at and I go, why didn't that happen? It should have happened, and it didn't, but, you move on. You can't tell America what they want to see, so, if they're not watching, they're not watching.